Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahu amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this session of Maxims of Fiqh. We're continuing the talk about the fifth grand maxim, which is custom to be applied. And the custom is the basis of the judgments whenever there is no text. Now, sometimes there is conflict between the urf and the religion. And the religion takes precedence. The specific meaning of the religion takes precedence over the usage of the urf. But what if we have the conflict between the urf and the language? In a sense that in the custom, we don't consider the toast bread. Bread is this famous rounded loaf. Someone came and said, "By Allah, I will not eat bread." Then he ate toast. Is he liable for the expiation of his oath, or he is good to go? Some scholars said that the precedence is for the language. The language overrules the urf. Other scholars said no, the urf overrules the language. So in this case, by the usage of the people, the custom, they don't consider the toast bread. Maybe in another country, but here they don't consider it, and that's where he took the oath. So that's where he doesn't need to pay anything because the urf is applied. Some scholars said no, linguistically he is liable and he broke the word and he has to expiate the kafara. This issue is debated amongst scholars. According to the Hanafi school of thought, they say that the urf takes precedence over the language. Some scholars disagreed to that. Another example would be if he took the oath that he will not drink water. He will not drink water. In our urf, the water is the fresh water that we drink. But if he went and drank from the water of the sea, which is salty, is he liable for the kafara or no? According to the Shafi'i school of thought, yes, he is liable for the kafara. Why? Because it's applicable to every type of water, be it fresh, be it salty. Other scholars said no, that's not the urf. So this is just an example where there is disagreement and scholars had different views. To what extent we apply the urf. Now we'll move to the general maxims that are branched from the grand maxim, custom is the basis of the judgment. The first major maxim that we have is the usage of people is implemented in urf. The usage of people is an evidence that should be considered. And in Arabic they say, استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل بها. What people are accustomed to, what they are used to doing, this is a valid evidence. And I will give you an example. When we transact, one in Canada and one in America, the seller sold a computer, laptop, for $2,000. The seller is sending the laptop from America to Canada. Now, the buyer in Canada, he was paying in American dollars. The seller told him, no, you have to pay me 2,000 Canadian dollars. You are in Canada. The seller told him it's 2,000 Canadian dollars because the Canadian dollar is a bit higher than the American dollar. What's the ruling here? There is no evidence in the Book of Allah that whoever sold a merchandise, the price is according to the seller. Or whoever bought a merchandise, the price is according to the buyer. So here we have to resort to the custom. What is the custom? Whenever someone sells something, it is the price of that seller that is meant. So if the seller said, I wanted Canadian dollars, and the buyer told him, no, you are in America, you are selling me something from America, and I am going to pay you American dollars. Which one is correct? Now, remember, we're talking in case there is no specification. That's where we apply the urf. If there is anything that is stipulated, then that takes precedence. But here in this case, we go back to the custom, to the urf. What is the urf? What people are using? In custom cases, in normal cases, the price is according to the buyer, not the seller. When you offer this price You are offering it in what you know. You are in America, that's the price that is in America, even if someone came from a different place. Unless you specify, you tell him that this is the price in your local currency. Okay, so this is where the urf is applied. And we had many cases like the contract of istisna. In principle, purchasing what does not exist is prohibited. Paying money for something that does not exist is prohibited. The Prophet ﷺ forbade the selling of the kali with the kali, deferring with deferment. You defer the money and you defer the merchandise. The only exception was bay'us salam. But scholars allowed the contract of istisna. What does that mean? It means that you go to someone, you tell him, I want you to design this for me. That merchandise is not created yet, is not made yet. He will make it for you. He will custom make it for you. Is this contract valid? Yes, because people need it and they are used to doing it. So scholars in general, all of them agreed that this is a valid contract. Why? It is a usage of the people. Another maxim that scholars mention as a general maxim is urf is what was established earlier, not what comes later. What people are accustomed to in the past, not what they are going to do later. You cannot tell someone, this is the urf, and he asks you, where did you get that from? He tells you, from now on. That's not accepted. Urf has to be known and it has to settle, and then people can transact based on it. So this is a condition, this maxim is like a condition for the implementation of the urf. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran the recipients of the zakah. And the recipients of the zakah, one of them, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. There are 8 recipients of the zakah. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله, in the cause of Allah. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, in the cause of Allah meant jihad. It had a specific meaning. Yeah, it is general, but it had a specific meaning, which is jihad. Nowadays, people generalize that. They say the custom nowadays is that fi sabilillah includes schools that teach Quran, includes da'is, preachers that are teaching Islamic studies, include this, include that. They cannot apply that and say this is the urf, because this is coming later, after the ayah was revealed. You cannot apply something later for something happened in the past. Another example in Surah Yusuf, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, and he was thrown in the well, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَجَاءَتْ سَيَّارَةٌ. In our terms, sayyara, if you tell any Arab speaker, he would tell you it means a car. That's the meaning of car, sayyara. In the ayah, there were no cars. What's the meaning there? The meaning was that group of people, bystanders, walkers. That's the meaning of sayyara. From sayr, they walk. فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So we cannot say that the meaning of sayyara in the Quran meant the car, because the car came later. The usage of people to this term sayyara as a car came later. We cannot apply something happened in the past. So this is the meaning, that the urf is what happened in the past, not what is happening in the future. The next maxim, the urf takes precedence over the literal meaning. Now, when people are accustomed to a meaning of something, and that thing has a literal meaning, the word has a literal meaning, like lion, asad. When you tell someone, the asad has come, the lion has come, what do you mean by that? Is it customary that the animal with the 4 legs is coming? That's not custom, because we know that lions are in the zoo. But here, when you say the asad has come, it means that the brave man, the strong man. Although literally, what's the meaning of asad? It means the lion, that animal which is in the zoo, we can see it in the jungle. But that was moved to the custom. So the custom takes precedence over the literal meaning. Every word has either literal meaning or linguistic meaning or customary meaning or religious meaning. And the religious meaning takes precedence over all other types. It takes precedence over all other types. Next maxim, next general maxim, what is determined by a custom is tantamount to a contractual stipulation. And this is now, we're dealing with the practical urf. When the contract does not regulate a specific term that is otherwise specified, then the contract is based on the urf. We presume that the urf applies. An example for this would be delivery. We agreed on a transaction, the same transaction that I mentioned earlier, $2,000 for a laptop. The seller will deliver the laptop. We agreed on the price. It's $2,000. Then the bill came with $2,200. There were $200 extra. So the buyer asked, why is this extra? We agreed on $2,000. He told him that is the price of delivery. You bought the merchandise, but you did not stipulate delivery. The buyer told him, no, it's known that you have to deliver the merchandise. And the seller told him, no, if you want delivery, you should pay extra. Again, what do we do here? We have to resort to the custom. What the custom says, and actually it differs. In some countries, the price does include delivery. In other countries, price does not include delivery. They sell you the merchandise, you have to take it. You have to bring someone to take it. It's not their problem. But if you stipulate, if you say this price includes delivery, then he cannot say that the custom means that you have to pay extra for the delivery. That cannot apply. Why? Because now it was stipulated, and that takes precedence. So this is an example. Another example is buying a car. When you buy a car, what do you include in the car? Can you sell a car without tires? Someone would tell you, you bought the car, you did not buy the tires. It's known that a car you cannot drive a car without tires, or even the spare tire in the back, in the trunk. If you did not include it, and he told you, well, you did not buy the spare tire, and you tell him, no, it's known that every car has a spare tire included. What was stipulated takes precedence over what is customary. But if there is no stipulation, no mentioning, then the custom takes place. Another maxim that is related to the custom, rulings may be changed by the change of the time. It is expected that some rulings based on the custom could be changed based on the time. People are evolving, they are changing. People change from time to time, and the custom changes also from time to time. What was known at some point that the woman is to be given only one dress in the winter and one dress in the summer. And then another time it was known that every woman had a servant. Now this could change, and this is what we are seeing. So the ruling, when we say bil ma'ruf, in what is known, what is customary, also could change. You cannot say 500 years ago, that's what the woman used to take, so that's what I'm going to give you only. You cannot do that, because here there is a custom that is applied and it has changed. That's related only to the rulings that are based on the custom. So what changes is the rulings that are based on custom. But the principal rulings, the origins, they do not change. Evidence in the Book of Allah, we cannot change that. But the rulings that are based on the custom, based on ijtihad, they can change. One of the examples of the change of the custom is the approval of witnesses. For instance, earlier they were very strict in approving a witness and his trustworthiness. But now this has changed. Anyone who brings two witnesses that are testifying that he is trustworthy, then he is trustworthy. Writing the Quran, earlier it was different. Then it had changed. Putting the dots and the articulation points all that has changed, and that was based on the custom, and that is fine and that is permissible. So these rulings can change based on the custom. I will stop here inshallah, and I will continue in the next session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.